Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Inessa Good, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about different things that you can do to increase your chances of getting into a hygiene program. So as some of you guys might know, I just finished my first year of dental hygiene school and I am stepping into my second year, and a lot of my friends who are applying into hygiene school are asking me this question: what are things that I can do to raise my chances of getting into a dental hygiene program? So I wrote out 4 different things that I think personally are like the biggest things that would really influence your chances of getting into a program. Now, each program looks for different things and it values different things differently. Like, one school might really value your grades as a top priority, and a second school might value a exam that they require the most. So like a TEAS exam, which is what my school required. So my first, out of these 4 things that I suggest, my first suggestion or advice that I would give to any person applying into the dental hygiene program is to have good grades. So each school counts grades as a different kind of point system, but in all the schools that I've applied to, 4 different schools, grades were the #1 thing that would determine how many points you would get towards your application process of getting into the program. So some schools will look at all of your prerequisites that they require and account them into your final score, while other programs will look at only the science classes. And I think for all the 4 schools that I applied to in Washington State, they all required, and no, they all only counted the science prerequisites. So that would be biology 160, biology like anatomy and physiology 241, anatomy and physiology 242, microbio, chem 1 and chem 2. So they would only look, the schools that I applied to only looked at these, but they did have other prerequisites. So I would suggest really focusing on getting 3.8s, 3.9s, 4.0s, as high of a grade as you can possibly get to really heighten your points for your total application process. And a lot of times people ask me, hey, I got a 3.2 or 3.3 in one of my science classes. Should I retake this class? And it depends. If you have an application process or a application due date that is coming up, and it's a matter of like, hey, if I retake this class, then I won't be able to apply, I recommend apply anyways and see if you get in or not. My grades were not all 3.8, 3.9, 4.0 for my science prerequisites, but I still applied and I still got in. So I wouldn't necessarily say you have to retake those classes, but I would recommend apply first, see if you get in or not. And then if you don't get in and you have like another year to wait before applying again, I would really recommend retaking those classes that you might have gotten a lower score in, because as I mentioned earlier, grades are a huge thing. At least to the schools that I was applying into, grades was probably one of the most, like, the biggest determining factors of how many points you would get towards your full application process, and that would determine, obviously, if you would get into the top 20 or the top 10, however many your school is accepting. The second thing that I would recommend is have prior dental assisting experience. Now, this is a really tough one sometimes, depending on whether you're going straight from high school, then prerequisites, and then applying. So for me, that's what I ended up doing. I did high school, and then we have a program in Washington State called Running Start, where you, in the last 2 years of high school, you can be doing college classes, which is what I did. So I finished my prerequisites for my school, for the schools that I was applying in high school. So while I was doing my high school courses, I also was doing my college courses. So I didn't have much time to do assisting, but with the way everything was falling, I would have to wait 1 year before finishing my prerequisites and applying to my program. So in that 1 year period, I was assisting, and it gave me those extra points that I needed to really boost up my score, and it really helped me get into the program. Now, some programs don't require you to have, dental assisting experience to get extra points. From my school that I applied, if you did, it was an additional bonus 5 points. So it is a lot in the long run, you know, but it's not a determining factor of whether you get in or not. If you have really good grades, you may not need that. And I wouldn't really rely on that for you to get in. I know plenty of people who did have 2, 3, 4, 5 years of dental assisting experience, but because their prerequisite science courses were not that great, they still could not get into the program. So it's one of those things that it does give you bonus points, but it's not the number one thing that I would focus on. But if you have that time and your means allow, I would definitely recommend to have prior dental assisting experience. So the third thing that I would recommend, and this is probably one of the most important things that I could recommend to anyone, is apply to as many schools as possible. This is huge. So I had a couple girlfriends who only applied to 1 or 2 schools because they really wanted to go and get into these schools, and they didn't end up getting in, and now they're devastated because, you know, now they're devastated because now they have to wait a whole extra year before they can apply again. And I suggest this to anyone. If you really want to get into your program, yes, you might have to apply and get into a school that may not be your top priority, but at least you're graduating 1 year early and you can be working in that 1 year time period. So I personally, I had a top school that I really wanted to get into, and I didn't end up getting into that school, but my second option I actually did end up getting into, and I am so glad that I am going to the school that I am going to now. So definitely apply to as many schools as you can apply in your region, in your area, and if you're willing to move out of state, definitely do that, because the program for dental hygiene is so competitive to get into. And really, hygienists, there's such a shortage for hygienists right now. So if this is something that you really want to do, I definitely recommend look and really do your research and see what schools are accepting students for the dental hygiene program, and apply as many times as you can and as many schools as possible. My fourth recommendation is some programs will have an exam that you have to take, and my suggestion is if they do have this exam, do really well on it. So for my school, I had to take a TEAS test, and this is a test pretty much for reading, writing, math, and science. It has 4 sections, and I believe, I can't remember how long this exam is, but it's a really big exam, and you have to study for months in advance for this exam. And this exam will determine a lot if your school requires this exam. For me, our grades in the program I applied to and got accepted to, our grades were worth 40 points, and this TEAS test was worth 30 points. Assisting was 5 bonus points if you did have it, and then there was a couple other things that, you know, were some more points. So my suggestion is really focus. If this exam has a huge impact on how many points you will get in the long run for your application, I suggest doing really well on this exam, so that if you do have a grade or 2 that you're not too proud of, this exam score can really balance it out. So that is all for this video. It was just a quick kind of short video to give recommendations, and let me know if you guys have any other questions about anything dental hygiene related or program or application related, and I will try to make a video about it. Thank you so much. Please give this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.